President Trump has confirmed that the US will withdraw from efforts to reach a Russia-Ukraine peace deal unless progress is made soon. His statement echoes remarks made earlier by Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who during a visit to Paris to have talks with European and Ukrainian counterparts, warned that the US would step back if there is no movement within a matter of days. This marks the highest level of transatlantic engagement since February regarding the war's resolution. But did it lead to any tangible progress? Here's Baljan Samigulina's report.
The U.S. president's patience is running thin as D.C. wants results. The lack of progress in securing a peace deal between Russia and Ukraine had become frustrating for Donald Trump. Now he warns that the U.S. might pull back from its mediation efforts, though he stopped short of specifying other measures to pressure both sides.
If for some reason one of the two parties makes it very difficult, we're just going to say you're foolish, you're fools, you're horrible people, and we're going to just take a pass, but hopefully we won't have to do that.
The threat to walk away has come as a surprise. Talks between U.S., Ukrainian and European officials who met in Paris this week were said to be going well. However, the first sign that something was wrong, though, came from one of those in attendance, America's top diplomat.
But we're not going to continue with this endeavor for weeks and months on end. So we need to determine very quickly now, and I'm talking about a matter of days, whether or not this is doable over the next few weeks. If it is, we're in. If it's not, then we have other priorities to focus on as well.
So diplomatic efforts to end the war in Ukraine continued in Paris, where talks focused on a fair and lasting peace, including a ceasefire and security guarantees. But while Europe appeared united, Zelensky expressed concern that not everyone is on the same page. On the other hand, Ukraine also grew troubled by Trump's outreach to Russia, with his envoy Steve Witkoff praising Putin and highlighting commercial opportunities. Witkoff suggested a peace deal could emerge after meeting the Russian President Vladimir Putin, but Ukraine's European allies urged the U.S. to increase pressure on Moscow.
Mr. President, very interesting.
Before taking office, the U.S. president had promised to end the war within 24 hours. However, nearly 100 days into his presidency, he's done little headway. Moscow rejected a 30-day ceasefire proposal, and Trump clashed with the European President Volodymyr Zelensky, accusing him of starting the war. The Trump administration stance toward Moscow and suspension of military aid to Kyiv has raised concern among European allies. Meanwhile, the fighting continued unabated. Thus, the threat raised questions about whether it marked a real shift in strategy or was just a tactic to pressure both Putin and Zelensky. If the US were to pull back from mediation, it's unclear how that would impact the EU's efforts to win the war. However, indeed, this is not the first time this prospect of peace has gained momentum and then stalled, as intense clashes on the front line continue. The limits of diplomacy and the future of European security is uncertain as ever. Baljan Samigulina, New Time.